it's Crush again. I'm here to bring you a hot and tasty review of Deadpool 2, which I just saw. Why why do I sound like a young Liam Neeson? Yeah, I saw Deadpool 2 last night, and I have some thoughts on it. So, here we go. I'm a huge Deadpool fan, and I am also a huge Domino fan, so you can imagine my excitement when this movie was announced, and she was as well. So, yeah, I'm going to start with the characters. I love the first Deadpool movie. I thought they did a really good job. The biggest hindrance for the first Deadpool movie for me was the necessary evil of the origin story part of it. I thought that held the movie back from its full potential because I got the most enjoyment when it was living in the present and not focusing on how Wade... my fucking camera is about to die. How Wade became Deadpool. And we're going to take a brief intermission. Enjoy some Conway Twitty.
I see the sparkling little diamond on your hand.
And we're back for now. GoFundMe to get Quebec a new fucking camera so that he can make a good video for once in his miserable life. I can't remember what I was talking about. I'm gonna get into the review. I liked the first Deadpool movie. I thought that the backstory aspect of it hindered the movie to be at its full potential, but I still enjoyed it greatly. I gotta rewatch it. But yeah, I'm gonna jump into Deadpool 2 and the characters. So, Deadpool is great. Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role. Of course, he was as good as the first movie. There's a lot of new characters. Cable, played by Josh Brolin, is incredible. He's playing Thanos in Infinity War, which I'm sure everyone is aware that they referenced in Deadpool, of course, at this point. And between the two, I think Brolin did better as Cable, weirdly enough. I think Cable was a more rounded out, more fleshed out, like, better written character. As much as I love Thanos, something about Cable just really... he really nailed the role of Cable, like from the comics onto the screen, besides his just noticeable size difference, which they reference in the movie too. He was fantastic. Another new addition is Domino, played by Zazie Beetz. There was a lot of controversy because she's black and America hates black people, but also because she doesn't look like how she does in the comics, which is stark white compared to brown and beautiful. And I love Domino, and I love new versions of characters, which you guys should know by now, and she nailed it. She completely nailed the role. Anyone who disagrees is just racist. Sorry. She killed it. Like, she really... everyone that they cast in this movie is pretty much ripped straight from the comics, at least emotionally in her regard. Because she might not look like Domino in the comics, physically, but she really embodies the character extremely well, and I thought she did a fantastic job. She's on Atlanta, if you want more of her, and that show by Donald Glover. It's on FX. Greatly recommend it. It's a great show. There's a lot of other new characters that are also introduced into his X-Force of sorts. Terry Crews plays Bedlam. It's just a lot of really obscure characters. Bedlam, Shatterstar. I can't even remember. The Zeitgeist, I think? I've never even heard of any of these guys, but they're in it. They do an adequate job. You can talk to me about it afterwards if you want. They're not in it very much. I'll just say that. There's... I guess that's it for the characters, beyond some awesome surprise cameos. There's a lot of... besides one character who makes a surprise appearance, there's two other cameos that are very, very blink and you'll miss it. But they just blew me the hell away. I thought they were excellent. Just fantastic. So that's it for the characters. The surprise character, who's actually important, was just so exciting, so perfect. I'm not gonna say though, because the trailers did a very good job about not telling you where the movie actually is gonna go. Like, they only covered like maybe the first half of the movie, but then like the second half is completely up in the air. So I realized that because once you get to the part in the movie where the trailers like stopped showing clips, you're like, oh shit. You realize it. You're like, what's gonna happen now? And that was just a really cool feeling to have because so many trailers just give away way too much of the movie. So, on to the writing. The writing was kind of weak. It went by the style of humor that is just like rapid fire, 100 shots per second, hoping some will land, and some did land, but it's just uncomfortable, that feeling of someone telling a whole bunch of jokes and like only a few making you laugh. It's just like that discomfort you feel when you're watching a stand-up special with a comedian you're unfamiliar with. Except this is almost worse because we know Deadpool is funny, we know the writers are really good, but with this one it was just non-stop, just battering you with jokes, so many references. Every fucking line is a joke or reference, and there's like 10 laced within those jokes and references, and most of them just didn't do anything for me, honestly, and that's kind of disappointing. So the writing was like, I guess that's all I have to say about that. And on to the plot. The plot was really good. I'm a sucker for time travel, and although that played such a minor role in this movie, it still was very cool to see on screen. Cable is such an interesting character, so it's cool that they integrated that aspect of his character. Not too much, but enough. And I thought that, yeah, the plot was simple, but they call it like a family movie because family is kind of like an overarching theme of this movie, and they did that very well. They plucked a little bit from one of my favorite Deadpool comics, Uncanny X-Force. He's involved in, and in that story, he's trying to save a kid, much like in this movie, but that's pretty much the only aspect they took from it. But it's just cool to see Deadpool not just being the LOL random fucking terrible style that we tend to see a lot of in comics. He actually did have some well thought out jokes. He actually has some dimension, some morals beyond all the bullshit. It's just good. Another bad aspect of the writing was just how much they cursed. Like, they really just went off the fucking handle with just how many bad words they could say. It's like a middle schooler discovering South Park, really, and it's just saying everything that they heard on screen because they're trying to test how it feels coming out of their mouths. I could have worded that better. Anyway, I gave Deadpool 2 a 4 out of 5, despite all of my bitching and moaning, because I enjoyed it, even though the writing wasn't as good as it wanted it to be, and the movie didn't really feel like it fully accomplished its goal of being more than just a parody. It felt like it was trying to be deeper than that, and in some ways it was, but at the same time it just doesn't feel like it was a full success. It just didn't feel completely victorious in that aspect. So it was good in like the comedy bits that they're used to and the action and everything, but in the regard of like serious and drama and like family, it's like 50-50. It did an okay job. I actually ended up liking it more than Infinity War because it has an ending and a beginning, a middle, and ending. Cliffhangers really piss me off. So yeah, Deadpool 2 is pretty good. I recommend it, and I don't think it's as good as the original, but some things like Domino and Cable, and of course Deadpool himself kind of bring it all home for me, despite some of it not being as good as I wanted it to be. The post-credit scenes are hysterical though, and I greatly recommend you watching them, because, yeah. And they are actually funnier to me than the rest of the movie. So, that's really it. I've been trying to like look at the clock to make sure I don't talk too much. This has kind of been a rambling review, but I'm still not completely sure how I felt about it. It let me down in some regards, but I also enjoyed it a lot. So I think it's really just the humor that put me off a little bit, because it was just felt so immature, even by Deadpool standards. But if you like the first one, you should like this one. And that's really it. Thanks a lot for watching my nonsense. Come back again next time if you want. Tell your friends, share the video, whatever. See you guys. Let me know what you think of the movie if you see it. Talk to me about it if you want. I don't know. Later.